Creme caramels are a really popular dessert in Vietnam, and as a twist on the French classic, the Vietnamese variety uses coconut milk. So that's what I'm going to make today, and the first thing I need to do is get started on the caramel. Take a cup of sugar and around about half as much water. Let's get that on a low heat. And all I want to do is swirl my pot to get that sugar to dissolve, and then it needs to simmer for about 3 to 4 minutes while that colour really starts to deepen. And it's best not to leave your caramel at all, even though you think, oh, well, I'll let that come up to heat and I'll go away and do something else. Honestly, every time I've done that, before I know it, it's suddenly going from caramel colour to very, very black, very, very fast. Take that off the heat so that it cools down. Keep moving it around in your pot so that it takes some of that temperature down. It looks great. Let me get my little bowls that I'm going to do the custards in. Tip this hot caramel into each one and then coat the bottom surface of them. This is going to end up being the top of our little custards when we turn them out later. And it's pretty dark in colour. There's almost a hint of that sort of brulee or burnt caramel. I can let those cool now and I can get on with making my custard to go on top. What I need here is a cup of ordinary milk and a cup and a quarter of coconut milk. If you just use 100% coconut milk, it's a little bit strong. The next ingredient that I've got are these beautiful fresh vanilla pods. Split that down the middle to release some of that beautiful stickiness that's on the inside. All of those vanilla seeds in there, they're all sort of gooey and flavoursome. So let's get that in here. I love that little speckly look because I know it's full of that vanilla. If you don't have fresh vanilla pods, vanilla essence is fine. Use about half a teaspoon. Put that onto a low heat and I just want to bring it up to warm. I certainly don't want to boil it. That gives me time to make the rest of my custard. I'm using 4 eggs, 2.5 tablespoons of caster sugar. I'm whisking this until that sugar is dissolved. That's what I'm looking for. You don't want to whip too many air bubbles in there, otherwise it'll affect the texture of our custard. Now let's have a look at that milk. That looks like it's come up to heat. Whisk and pour is the key here, keeping it moving. We're making a custard in order to get that lovely silky texture. It's all about cooking it at a very low heat. Otherwise you get this thing with eggs called senorisis. At least that's what I think it's called. And that's when the water from the egg splits out. That's what curdles a custard. Senorisis. You've got to be a bit ambidextrous for this recipe. Good if you've got a mate over, one of you can whisk and one of you can pour. Now I can put this into my little caramel dishes. Because these have sat around and they've cooled a little bit, that caramel is quite solid, so I can pour my custard on top of it without disturbing it. Focus all your attention and a nice clean pour on top of each of our caramels. Fill it up to almost the top. Number 3, and going strong, no spillage yet. I won't count my chickens.